Welcome to this cinematic explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly epic. We're talking about the absolute greatest, most majestic kingdom in human history. We're stepping way back in time to uncover the spiritual legacy of Prophet Suleman, peace be upon him. Through the historical visuals we'll be looking at, we'll witness a domain that literally stretches way beyond human imagination. We're going to explore not just his ultimate power, but the heavy, really humbling trials that came right alongside it. I mean, just imagine this for a second. Try to picture a ruler whose authority was so absolute, it actually bypassed the laws of nature. He didn't just govern people. The very winds would carry his throne. Birds would flock together to form these massive living canopies in the sky just to shade him from the sun. And powerful jinns stood right there with their hands folded, waiting for his every command. It was a kingdom that absolutely struck awe into the hearts of the greatest earthly powers. Chapter 1: The Majestic Kingdom. Now, to really grasp the weight of his trials, we first need to understand the absolute peak of his power, ruled from this breathtaking, divinely engineered throne of ivory and gold. And the sheer scale of this realm, it was staggering. 20,000, that's the number of camels cooked all at once in his royal kitchens. 20,000! Because he wasn't just feeding a human army. His legions were made up of men, jinns, birds, and animals, stretching out for miles across the earth. Providing for this unimaginable crowd was literally a daily occurrence. But here's the fascinating part. Despite possessing all the wealth in the world, what was the personal state of this great prophet? I mean, he commanded the wind and these vast armies, right? Yet he absolutely refused to take a single coin from the royal treasury for his own meals. Instead, he'd sit there with profound humility, weaving date palm baskets with his own hands. He'd sell them in the market just to earn enough for a simple daily meal. He sought this kingdom not for his own pride, but purely to elevate the word of Allah. Chapter 2: The First Trial, the Stolen Ring. Now, as we know, absolute power is met with absolute testing. And the deconstruction of this immense kingdom, well, it would happen in the blink of an eye. So a divine trial was triggered when an act of idol worship, secretly and totally without his knowledge, entered his household through one of his wives. You see, the secret to his physical dominion over the natural world was actually inscribed upon a secret ring. Whenever he stepped away, he entrusted this ring to his most loyal maid, Amina. But one day, the leader of the shayateen, who had been lurking in the shadows of the palace, used dark magic to take on the exact physical form, voice, and demeanor of Prophet Suleman. He walked right up to Amina, asked for the ring, and slipped it onto his own finger. And just like that, in a blinding flash, the forces of nature bowed to the impostor. Can you imagine the shock when the true prophet stepped forward to claim his ring? Nobody recognized him. The man who quite literally flew on the winds was pushed right out of his own palace doors. This began an agonizing physical and emotional exile. He walked barefoot on burning desert sands, journeying all the way to the sea. The king of the world was now a laborer, carrying heavy fishing nets just to earn 2 fish a day to survive. Finally, on the 40th day, while preparing his meager wage by the shore, he cut open a fish and there it was. He found his sacred ring inside. The sea itself had returned his kingship purely by the will of Allah. Now you might be wondering, how on earth did his wise ministers not realize this was a deception? Especially Asif bin Barkia, who was known for his vast knowledge. Well, Asif later explained that he actually did know, but he recognized it was a decreed trial from Allah. Prophet Suleman reflected on this using such a brilliant analogy. He talked about the hudhud bird. The hudhud has this miraculous ability to see water buried deep beneath the earth's surface, yet it completely misses a thin net lightly dusted with dirt and flies right into the hunter's trap. It's like the prophet noted, when the divine decree arrives, even the sharpest human eyes become completely blind. Chapter 3: The Second Trial, the Setting Sun. So his kingdom was restored, but his heart was destined to be tested yet again. Let me paint a picture for you. Prophet Suleman inherited 1,000 magnificent purebred horses from his father, Prophet Daud, peace be upon him. And these were no ordinary steeds. They were astonishingly beautiful, incredibly disciplined. They were even known to stand elegantly on just 3 legs resting the hoof of the 4th, and they were bred purely for the noble cause of defending the truth. So one afternoon, right as the golden hour is bathing the landscape, he's out there inspecting this majestic cavalry. The dust kicked up by their hooves is shining like gold in the fading light. He was just so deeply captivated by their beauty and by their purpose in the way of Allah that the moments just slipped away. Suddenly, he looks up. The sun had completely set behind the mountains. The time for the Asr prayer had passed, and that realization struck his heart with just an agonizing weight. His admiration for the horses had actually distracted him from the remembrance of his Creator. Now, we really need to clear up a major historical misconception right here. Some myths out there claim he got angry and struck down the horses. But absolutely not. A prophet of Allah does not harm innocent animals. Instead, deeply remorseful, he commanded the angels and prayed earnestly to Allah. And in a display of just immense mercy, Allah commanded the sun to literally reverse its course. It's a profound miracle known as Radi Shams. The sun actually rose back up above the horizon, restoring the daylight. Also, Prophet Suleman could perform his ablution, lovingly wash and stroke his horses, and pray his Asr prayer in its proper time. Chapter 4. The Third Trial. The Incomplete Plan. Look, he had faced exile, he had literally seen the sun reverse its course, but honestly, nothing could prepare him for the most emotionally shattering trial of all. One night, looking out at the stars, his heart burned with this strong desire to raise a whole generation of warriors for Allah. He declared he would visit his 70 wives that night, and from each, a valiant son would be born. It was such a noble, passionate intention. But in his intense spiritual zeal, he made a very human oversight. He forgot to utter just one vital phrase, Inshallah, if Allah wills. As a loving divine reprimand for forgetting this, only one wife conceived, and tragically, she gave birth to a child who was physically incomplete, born as merely half a body. But despite this, Prophet Suleman loved his vulnerable son deeply, keeping him right close by his side on the throne. But then came this truly chilling moment. During a royal court gathering, Malik al-Munt, the angel of death, suddenly appeared in human form. And Prophet Suleman noticed something strange. The angel wasn't looking at him. He wasn't looking at the jinns. The angel's gaze was locked with this intense, profound, and honestly terrifying curiosity directly onto the Prophet's vulnerable, incomplete child. Gripped by absolute panic, the kind only a father can feel, Prophet Suleman summoned his most powerful jinns to hide the boy somewhere, anywhere where death couldn't reach him. One jinn offered the bottom of the ocean. Another suggested the very edges of the earth. Finally, a devil suggested hiding the child way up high, in the thickest clouds in the sky. The Prophet agreed. He commanded the wind to carry his beloved child up into the deep heavens. But here's what he didn't know. The reason the angel of death had been staring at the child down in the court was because Allah had already commanded him to take the boy's soul in the clouds. The angel had been standing there wondering, how was a child on the ground going to reach the sky? So the Prophet's own desperate plan delivered his child directly to the exact location where his death was already written. A sudden thunderclap echoed through the heavens, and from the sky, a lifeless body gently fell, landing directly upon the very throne of worldly power. Prophet Suleman just bowed his head, tears streaming down his face. In that agonizing, sorrowful moment, the ultimate realization hit him. No army, no wind, no magic, and absolutely no human tactic can ever outmaneuver the destiny written by Allah. Conclusion: the ultimate spiritual lesson. So what does this all mean for us? When we look beyond the gleaming ivory, beyond the tamed winds and the jinns, we really have to look at the heart of the Prophet. The true legacy of Prophet Suleman, peace be upon him, wasn't his unmatched control over the forces of nature. No, his true power was his absolute And that leaves us with a deeply humbling reflection. If the king, who literally commanded the winds, whose throne flew through the air, could not alter his destiny or protect his own child from the divine decree without the will of Allah, well, how deeply must we reflect on our own humility? How desperately do we need to rely on Inshallah in our everyday lives? Really think about that as you navigate your own trials, your own ambitions. Because true peace, it only comes when we completely surrender to the wisdom of the Creator.